Wealth is not an accident. It is a divine design, and today you will discover the blueprint almost no one knows. Wealth. Just hearing the word triggers so many emotions. For some, it sparks desire. For others, it sparks guilt. Some chase it with desperation, believing that if they finally become rich, they will finally find peace. Others reject it completely, repeating the phrase, "Money is the root of all evil," without realizing that they are misquoting scripture and that the real danger is not money itself, but the love of money, the obsession, the idolatry, the blindness that comes when money becomes your master instead of your servant. And this is exactly why so many people live confused, frustrated, and divided when it comes to money and faith. They want to prosper, they dream of abundance, but deep inside they feel guilty about it. They feel like having wealth makes them less spiritual. And so they sabotage themselves, they push away opportunities, they settle for less, and they call it humility. But poverty is not humility. Scarcity is not holiness. Lack is not a divine calling. The truth is this: wealth is part of God's design. From the very beginning of creation, abundance was the default. Think about the garden. It wasn't a desert. It wasn't scarcity. It was overflow. Fruit trees multiplying, rivers flowing, seeds reproducing endlessly. That was God's original design. Multiplication, prosperity, abundance. But humanity forgot the blueprint. And so, generation after generation, people began to separate wealth from purpose. Some chased money with no mission, and they ended up empty, anxious, broken. Others chased mission but rejected money, and they ended up limited, unable to expand their calling, unable to help the people they were meant to serve. Both extremes are distortions. Both are dangerous, because wealth without purpose corrupts, and purpose without wealth struggles. But when you unite the two, when you align wealth with purpose, something powerful happens. Let me ask you, what if wealth was never meant to be random? What if it was never meant to be dirty or accidental or only for a few lucky ones? What if wealth was actually designed into the structure of the universe as part of your calling? What if provision was built into your purpose? Wealth is not luck. Wealth is not greed. Wealth is alignment. And the moment you understand that wealth is not the destination but the tool, everything shifts. Think about this. If you believe money is evil, you will unconsciously reject it. You will feel guilty every time it comes into your hands. You will spend it carelessly, or you will push it away. But if you believe money is a resource entrusted to you by God to fuel your mission, then you will treat it differently. You will manage it with wisdom. You will multiply it with discipline. You will give it with joy. And money will begin to serve you instead of enslaving you. This is the first truth of God's blueprint. Wealth was never meant to master you. It was meant to serve you. It was never meant to replace your faith. It was meant to amplify it. It was never meant to distract you from your mission. It was meant to empower your mission. The enemy knows this, which is why he works in extremes. On one side, he tempts people to worship money, to sacrifice their values, their families, their souls for riches. On the other side, he convinces people that money itself is sinful, so they reject it and live in unnecessary struggle. Both sides miss the truth. Both sides break the blueprint. But faith restores balance. Faith says, I will not worship money, but I will not reject it either. I will receive it, I will steward it, and I will use it for purpose. So ask yourself honestly, what is your relationship with wealth? Do you chase it with fear, or do you push it away with guilt? Do you see it as your master, or do you see it as your servant? Your answer matters, because your mindset shapes your reality. Scripture says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. If you think you're destined to struggle financially, you will. If you think you are unworthy of abundance, you will repel it. But if you think and believe that you are a steward of abundance, that provision flows with your mission, that prosperity is not just allowed, but required for the impact you are called to create, then your entire posture towards money changes. Let me remind you of something powerful. Discipline is spiritual. Too many people separate financial discipline from faith, But the truth is, order attracts abundance. Chaos repels it. If you cannot manage little, you will not be entrusted with much. That is not just financial advice, it is divine principle. Wealth is not given to the careless. It is entrusted to the faithful. And that is why discipline, saving, giving, investing, planning is not just about money, it is about stewardship. It is about showing heaven that you can handle increase. But remember this, the blueprint does not start with numbers. It starts with purpose. If money is your mission, you will never have enough. You will chase and chase and chase and still feel empty. But if purpose is your mission, then money becomes a tool. It flows to you because it has a reason to. It multiplies because it has a mission to fuel. That is why so many people who win the lottery end up broke within years. They received riches without purpose. And riches without purpose always self-destruct. But a person with purpose can start with little and create lasting wealth because they understand the why behind the what. Wealth without why is wasted. But wealth with why is unstoppable. Think of the great builders of history. They didn't just accumulate money for themselves. They built schools, hospitals, communities. They left legacies. Their wealth had purpose, and that's what made it powerful. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, why do I want wealth? Is it to impress, to compete, to prove something? Or is it to create, to bless, to expand, to fulfill my mission? Your answer determines your alignment with the blueprint. Because here's the truth. God is not against you having wealth. He is against wealth having you. He is against greed, against idolatry, against obsession. But he is for abundance, for multiplication, for stewardship. He delights in your growth. He rejoices in your impact. He desires that you have more than enough, not just to survive, but to overflow. And overflow is the key word. Wealth is not meant to stop with you. Like a river, it is meant to flow. When a river flows, it brings life. But when water stops moving, it becomes stagnant. The same is true of money. When it flows, when you give, when you invest, when you build, it multiplies. But when you hoard, when you cling, when you fear, it poisons your soul. That's why giving is not loss. Giving is multiplication. Every time you give, you prove to heaven that money is not your master. You prove that your trust is in God, not in numbers. And that faith opens doors to more. So here's the beginning of the blueprint. Renew your mind, steward with discipline, and connect every dollar to your purpose. See money not as master, but as servant. See it not as goal, but as tool. See it not as random, but as part divine design. Many people misunderstand wealth because they only see the external. They look at cars, houses, bank accounts, and they think that is wealth. But that is only a shadow of true wealth. Real wealth begins on the inside. Wisdom, vision, discipline, peace. Without those, external riches will eventually disappear. But with them, wealth multiplies, endures, and blesses beyond generations. Think of Joseph in Egypt, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, thrown into prison. By human standards, he was a failure. Yet because of his wisdom, discipline, and faith, he rose to manage the wealth of an entire nation. And not only did he save Egypt, he saved his family, he saved nations. That is God's blueprint in action. Wealth connected to purpose, resources connected to mission. And here's the secret most people ignore. God is not going to pour abundance into a container full of holes. If you live in constant fear, constant chaos, constant lack of discipline, no amount of money will ever be enough. But when you align your heart, your habits, and your purpose, suddenly even little becomes much. Suddenly doors open, opportunities appear, resources flow, because you are ready to handle them. This is why some people with very little still feel wealthy, and others with millions feel empty. Wealth is not about how much you have. It's about how aligned you are with your purpose. And once you understand this, you stop chasing money and start attracting it. You stop feeling guilty about abundance and start using it with power. So let me ask you again, what story are you telling yourself about wealth? Do you secretly believe you don't deserve it? Do you believe it's for others, but not for you? Or are you ready to align with the truth that you were created not for scarcity, but for overflow? Because the moment you shift that belief, the moment you accept that wealth and purpose are part of the same divine design, everything in your life begins to change.